So the first Carnatic War had taken place from 1746 to 1748. So the both external reasons and internal reasons can be said for the Carnatic Wars. So internally, if you see, the competition that was there between the English East India Company and the French East India Company, the ambitions both of them had were responsible for the warfare, because both the companies, English Company and the French East India Company, wanted to be the only one to get exclusive trading rights in India. They have already displaced, or they have already replaced, they have already thrown away the Portuguese, the Arabs, the Dutch and the Danes. They are not playing a very significant role by now. So they are very confident that the race is between only both of them, the British and the French. So the ambitious governors of the British and the French were clearly, what is that, the vision. They had a high vision, and they were thinking that they should become the monopolist trading partner in India, and they should be able to take control of the trade with India. So the high ambition can be rated as one of the reasons for the Carnatic War, whether it is first or second or the third. Very high ambition was there between the British and the French. So there was competition, there was rivalry, and there was high ambition to do what? To get monopolic trade control with India. Okay, so that's number one cause for all the Carnatic Wars you can write about. But their immediate causes, what prompted the war, may differ from each of the wars, 1, 2, and 3. So in 1744, external reasons also played a very significant role. In Europe, both England and France were in opposite camps of wars. When the Austrian War of Secession is taking place, you find that the French is supporting Prussia and the English is supporting Austria. Okay, so the Austrian War is happening. You find that the French government is supporting Prussia and the English government is supporting Austria. So because of that, there was a lot of rivalry that was happening in the colonies as well. So in the European mainland, rivalry was there naturally. That rivalry also was encouraged in the colonies. Since India is also a kind of colony at the time, you find that rivalry's natural progression took place in India as well. Okay, the French is supporting Prussia, the English is supporting Austria. So that is why the governments, both the French and the British government, were also not stopping the warfare. They are allowing the warfare to take place in Indian soil. Okay, right? So, but what is the primary motive of the companies to fight the war in India? To gain control or advantage of trade in India. Then if they are able to get territories, they'll be very happy. So take control of trade, take control of territory. So with that high ambition only, they are fighting in India. Then Dupleix, as I already introduced him before, he was the very highly ambitious governor of the French East India Company. And he had clearly said, openly said, that his ambition was to drive away the British from India. So that way, these are all the main causes for the first Carnatic War, 46 to 48. So what are the major incidents of the war? So in summary, we are not expanding. In 1745, the British Navy is capturing a lot of French ships, and they are trying to capture Pondicherry. Okay, so who is provoking the battle? In Europe, the battle is already going on. In India, in 1745, it is the British Navy, which you all said, it is the strength of England, right? So the British Navy is capturing French ships, and they are also threatening to enter into Pondicherry. Okay, so the French are saying we are forced to retaliate. So who is the provocator? It is the British who is the provocator of the war. So they are trying to they are trying to start a war with the French, right? So they have captured British ships. That means they're going to loot the trading ship, and they are also trying to provoke in such a way that we will enter into Pondicherry, which is the headquarters of the French. And Dupleix is not going to simply keep quiet and not respond. The French is retaliating by attacking Fort St. George. Okay, the French government is retaliating by attacking Fort St. George and they are capturing Madras. So tit for tat. These people are provoking and they are threatening to capture Pondicherry, whereas the French go one step ahead. They captured Madras, which was the headquarters of the English East India Company in southern province, which you all know, right? So the British lost Madras in 1746. So that means the war had begun. 1746. How did the war begin? When the French retaliating by capturing Fort St. George and they are capturing Madras. 1745, Navy is taking the leadership and they are capturing the French ships, but they did not enter Pondicherry. When 1746, the French are entering and capturing Madras. So that means officially the British historians are going to say that Carnatic Wars began in 1746 only when the French went and attacked Madras. So that is why when we talked about periodization of the war, what did I say? The war began in 46. We did not say the war began in 45. Okay. So that way you find that the British historians are trying to justify that they didn't do anything. Who is responsible for the war? It is the French who is responsible for the war and who had captured Madras in 1746. Okay. Right. Then they also are trying to capture Fort St. David, but English possession to the south of Pondicherry, but they are not able to do so. Okay, so they are trying to capture Fort St. David, but they are not able to do so. The English are trying to recover Madras, but they are not able to do so. So it is a seesaw battle, but who is having the upper hand? The French is having the upper hand because the British have lost Madras in the first Carnatic War, right? Next important battle is Battle of St. Thomas, Santom, 1746. Okay, so now Carnatic region Nawab, that means Arcot, Nawab of Arcot. Whenever I say Carnatic region, kindly remember the Nawab of Arcot. If you want, I can show you the map also. The Nawab of Arcot here, right? So this is Arcot region. This is Fort St. David. Okay. After Pondicherry, Fort St. David comes. And this is Madras, right? So already the French have occupied Madras region. They are trying to occupy Kadalur, Fort St. David. That is not happening. But still, this is a good win for the French people. So the Nawab of Arcot is coming to help. Okay, so the Nawab of Arcot is coming to help. So Nawab Anwaruddin, the name of the Nawab is Anwaruddin. He is sending a large army to support the British government in order to recover Madras from the French, from Dupleix. Okay, so Carnatic Nawab Anwaruddin is sending a large army to recover Madras from the French. So that is what this Battle of Santom is about. Okay, so the Battle of Santom is between Anwaruddin and his huge army and then a small army led by the French. Okay, so Captain Paradise was the leader of the French army and he's recording, his historians are recording that with a very small number of disciplined soldiers, the French were able to defeat an ocean-like number of soldiers which were led by the Carnatic region. The Carnatic Nawab's large army came under the commander Mahfuz Khan and Captain Paradise defeated Mahfuz Khan. So the French are successful again. So what is their first big win? They got Madras. The second big win, they are defeating the Nawab of Arcot who had come to help the British. So the French victory clearly demonstrated that they are superior, their army is well trained, they have good disciplined soldiers and Dupleix is ready to enjoy his success. Okay, so that is what has happened in the first Carnatic War. Okay, so in the first Carnatic War, the Britishers are provocating, but the French is responding beautifully well. They were able to capture Madras. They are able to defeat Ambur in the Battle of Santom. Okay, so that way the French is very satisfied. The Dupleix is very much satisfied. Okay, but please remember, East India Company is only a trading company. Okay, the real government is in Europe. You have France and you have England. They are only going to sign the treaty. The trading companies are not going to sign the treaty. Okay, so why did the war happen in Europe? Because of Austrian War of Secession. Okay, so that Austrian War came to an end. Therefore, Carnatic War also came to an end. Austrian War came to an end. So Carnatic Wars also came to an end because the trading companies are not allowed to fight a war. Trading companies are expected to ask the army of the respective states to come and fight a war. So here, why does the war happen? The trading companies are highly ambitious. They wanted to take advantage of the war and expand their interest. So that is why they are taking decisions in this warfare. Since Austrian War of Secession came to an end, you find the First Carnatic War also came to an end. A treaty was signed at the end of the Austrian War of Secession with the provisions which are applicable to India also. Okay, so Treaty of Untitled was signed in 1748. Treaty of we have written the spelling here, kindly read it. So you find that this treaty was signed in 1748, and by this treaty, one of the provisions of the treaty is Madras has to be returned back to the British. Okay, in the Austrian War of Secession, the French government was not successful. So French government is not going to get any kind of concession or any kind of benefits. So even in India, the French government is not allowed to get any kind of benefit. So what happened? The French East India Company was told to return Madras back. Even though Dupleix was successful, he could not enjoy the benefits of the Carnatic War. The French were forced to give Madras back, and the English got back their most important settlement in South India. Within few months, the second Carnatic War had started. So what were the reasons? It is the disappointment of the first Carnatic War. Okay, so Dupleix had won a lot of things in the first Carnatic War, but he was not allowed to enjoy those success, right? So he had given back Madras. He did not get any kind of trading concessions. So that way, there was a lot of disappointments due to the first Carnatic War, right? So the French soldiers, the French men who were in India were looking for next opportunity in order to get back the territories that they have conquered in the first Carnatic War. So they say, the first taste lingers longer. So there was a lot of, the success was still there, but they were not able to enjoy the success. So they wanted to get back those territories which they have won. So they were waiting for a chance in order to become the dominant power in South India, and they wanted to cut away the power that was enjoyed by the British in the Carnatic region. Okay, so the Dupleix is once again given the reason for the war: his ambition, his thirst to enhance his power, and Dupleix was also involving himself in the local politics. So the second major reason for the Carnatic Wars was Dupleix interference or Dupleix involvement in the local affairs. because Dupleix is understanding that the British are involving. That is why Anwaruddin came, no? Nawab of Arcad, Anwaruddin came to support the British. So Dupleix is realizing that the local rulers play a very important role. So he is also trying to involve and interfere in the local dynastic politics so that the French can get advantage in India. Okay. So before the Second Carnatic War, Dupleix is involving prominently in two major problems. One happened in Hyderabad region, the other happened in Carnatic region. So because of these involvements only, the Second Carnatic War takes place. Okay, so I shall give a snapshot about these two local problems. So one is Andhra, Hyderabad region. The Nizam died in 1748. The Nizam of Hyderabad, that is the leader of Hyderabad, died in 1748. So his son Nasir Jung had become the Nizam. I would advise you to write down in a small notebook, in your history notebook, the main personality names, and then memorize who are the characters in each of the sites so that it is easy for you to recall whenever you are writing about Anglo-French conflicts or Carnatic Wars. Okay. So Nizam of Hyderabad died in 1748. His son Nasir Jung is coming to power, whereas his nephew Muzaffar Jung is opposing him. He is saying, I am the rightful owner. I should be coming to power. Even though he is not the rightful heir to the throne, he is claiming possession of the throne. Usually that happens in India, War of Secession. We call that as War of Secession. So War of Secession is happening between Nasir Jung and Muzaffar Jung. So that is what is happening in Hyderabad. So now these English and the French are going to engage into this conflict also. So they are going to get into one side or the other side. Then the same situation happened in Arcad also. Well, Anwaruddin, who was the supporter of the British. Okay. So Anwaruddin was supporter of the British and he was not liked by his cousin Chanda Sahib. So Chanda Sahib wanted to capture power. Right. So Chanda Sahib and Anwaruddin are fighting to take control over Arcad region. Nasir Jung and Muzaffar Jung are fighting to take control over Hyderabad region. So this is purely a local dispute, a civil war. It does not require the French government or the British government or the French East India Company nor the English East India Company to do anything, but the intentions of the Dupleix and English East India Company was entirely different. Okay, right? So Nasir Jung, Muzaffar Jung are fighting. Anwaruddin and Chanda Sahib are fighting. Okay, so Anwaruddin, you already know, belonged to the British camp. Nasir Jung also joined the British camp. So these three, all of them are ruling group. They are the dominant. They think they are the dominant group. So Nasir Jung, Anwaruddin and the English are in one camp. Muzaffar Jung, who is contending to the throne, and Chanda Sahib are seeking help from the French in order to get control over the Hyderabad region and the Arcad region. Right? Nasir Jung is a ruling camp, I told you. Anwaruddin is in the ruling camp, right? So Nasir Jung, Anwaruddin, Hyderabad side and Anwaruddin side, these two are the contenders. If you remember that, then you can easily recall who is in the French side and who is in the British side. You're all young people, easy to remember. If you don't remember, you just have to practice and rehearse 2-3 times, right? So you have Nasir Jung versus Muzaffar Jung, Anwaruddin versus Chanda Sahib, and Nasir and Anwar joined English. Muzaffar Jung and Chanda Sahib are seeking the help of the French and particularly Dupleix. So the historians, both English historians, the French historians and the Indian historians have the same opinion that the trading companies definitely engaged in this internal rivalry. So they are encouraging the internal rivalry so that they will get more concession as well. Okay, right? So what is the course of the war? What happened? The French army is joining the troops of Chanda Sahib and Muzaffar Jung in the Arcad region in 1749. Okay, and the first battle that takes place is called as Battle of Ambur. And in this battle, so who's starting the war then? Again, it is the French. According to the Britishers, it is the French who is starting the war. They are combined forces of the French, Chanda Sahib and Muzaffar Jung are coming to Arcad region. In the Battle of Ambur, Anwaruddin was defeated and killed. Who is Anwaruddin? He is the Nawab of Arcad. So Anwaruddin, Nawab of Arcad, was killed. So immediately who is tasting success? The French are tasting success. By what? By killing Anwaruddin, by defeating Anwaruddin, they are supporting Chanda Sahib to become the Nawab of Carnatic region, and Chanda Sahib becomes the Nawab of Carnatic region, and he immediately donates 100 villages, Parganas, okay, 100 villages near Pondicherry to the French East India Company. That is what Dupleix wanted. No, he wanted territories. He wanted advantage. By supporting local rulers, he was very sure he is going to get the advantage, right? So Battle of Ambur, 1749, Anwaruddin is defeated, Anwaruddin is killed, and then the French are receiving more than 100 villages near Pondicherry. So Pondicherry, from a small village, is now growing into a larger town and city. Okay, right? So 100 villages are granted. Valadanur, Villianur, Bahud are all some of the famous places there. So Dupleix is getting 100 plus villages. Pondicherry is expanding. Okay, right? So who's killed? Anwaruddin is killed. Who is successful? Chanda Sahib is successful. Okay, let me show you the previous slide. So in the battle that is taking place between Anwaruddin and Chanda Sahib is successful. And who is not? Anwaruddin is killed, so he is defeated. So the British are again tasting defeat only. Okay, right? So that way, Dupleix is very clever and very happy that he is getting this success. But one thing they miss is Anwaruddin's son, Muhammad Ali, was not captured. Okay, usually heir to the throne also is captured and taken as prisoner of war. Anwaruddin's son was not captured, so that Muhammad Ali, very young person, escapes from Arcad and he is running to Trichurapalli, cantonment area. The British had put one fort there. It was their cantonment. So it's a factory, no? So factory, they had militarized the factory settlement area. That is how in modern times it will be called as cantonment, like how Bangalore cantonment region we say, right? So Trichy was the cantonment region. Army garrison was there in the Trichurapalli region. So Muhammad Ali naturally is running to the British camp in order to get shelter because his father Anwaruddin was follower of the British camp. So his son is also running to the British, and the Britishers are rescuing him and giving him shelter. So this Muhammad Ali is going to keep pressurizing the Britishers to get back his capital, to get back his throne, okay, to get revenge for the death of his father. So the story is going to continue, right? So Arcad, first battle, Battle of Ambur, 1749, the French are successful. Find that the second half of the Carnatic War, Dupleix is sending huge army under the leadership of Bussy. And what is their plan? They want to defeat Nasir Jung in order to make Muzaffar Jung the Nizam of Hyderabad. Okay, so Nasir Jung was also killed. Nasir Jung was killed in this battle in 1750, and Muzaffar Jung becomes the Nizam of Hyderabad. So the French plan is working. Nasir Jung was killed in the battle and Muzaffar Jung has come to power. Okay, so who are the two contenders for the throne? You had two contenders here, Nasir Jung and Muzaffar Jung. So the French are supporting Muzaffar Jung in order to defeat Nasir Jung. So the battle takes place in the Hyderabad region. Nasir Jung is killed and Muzaffar Jung is coming to power. Okay, so the English side, all the two got defeated. Anwaruddin got killed, Nasir Jung got killed. In the French side, Chanda Sahib had already come to power. Now in Hyderabad, Muzaffar Jung is coming to power. Okay, so that is why you find that this war has become more interesting, and you find the British are taking the upper hand. Okay, the Britishers are winning. Sorry, the French is taking the upper hand and the Britishers are seem to be losing. Okay, so after defeating Carnatic region, Arcad region, after capturing Hyderabad region, making both their followers, their supporters to come to office, Dupleix is now marching with head held high towards Trichy, the next military garrison of the Britishers, because it is in this location Muhammad Ali, who is the son of Anwaruddin, is hiding. So he is marching towards that. So Muhammad Ali is not willing to surrender. Muhammad Ali is appealing, he is writing, he is asking repeatedly the support of the English. And the English also decide to come to the rescue. Okay, so Muhammad Ali pleaded for assistance, and the English are coming to the rescue of Muhammad Ali. Okay, in this battle that is taking place in Trichy also, it looked as if Dupleix is only going to succeed. So after Arcad, after Hyderabad, Dupleix was having upper hand even in the battle that is taking place at Trichurapalli. Okay, it looked as if the English would be completely rooted out of South India. Okay, so it was during this time an officer, an English army officer, namely Robert Clive, is giving an idea. What is the idea? When the entire French army is concentrating on Tiruchirappalli, allow me to take small group of soldiers and go to Arcad, because the French army is not found in Arcad. Okay, so the French army has already moved away from Arcad. They have come to Hyderabad. Then from there they have moved away and they are now garrisoned in Tiruchirappalli. Tiruchi has a huge fort. So they are telling, let this battle take place. Allow me silently to go to Arcad and let me try to defeat the French troops in Arcad. Okay, so this Robert Clive's idea, suggestion, is the biggest turning point. Okay, so this Robert Clive, an English small commander, that means he's not having a big value at that time. Since you studied Bengal, you might think Robert Clive is a big man, but Battle of Plassey is going to take place only in 1757. It has not yet happened. Okay, so in 1749, 1750, Robert Clive was nobody. So Robert Clive is giving a suggestion that allow me to go with just 500 soldiers to Arcad region. I will try. If I am able to defeat Chanda Sahib and capture Arcad, then the war will turn the course. Okay, so that way Robert Clive is suggesting the plan to attack Carnatic region, and the English are trusting him, Robert Clive, and giving him permission to go to Arcad region. Okay, so Dupleix, where is Dupleix? Dupleix is in Trichy. Majority of the French men are in Trichy. Okay, so the English governor Saunders is accepting this plan and he is sending an army with Robert Clive and Major Lawrence. So Clive is going in 1751, he is capturing Arcad without much problem. So 1751, the French army is defeated, the Nawab of Arcad is defeated, and Arcad is captured by the British. So far, French were only winning the war. Now, because of Robert Clive's suggestion, when the entire attention of the French is focused in Trichy, he is going towards Arcad and he is defeating the French soldiers in Arcad in 1751. The French forces and Chanda Sahib were defeated in two battles in Arcad. Battle of Arni, Battle of Kaveri Pakkam. So in two successive battles, they were defeated. Chanda Sahib surrendered. That means he's also being captured. He's not allowed to run away. Chanda Sahib is captured and he is beheaded. Okay, Chanda Sahib is captured and is beheaded in 1752 and Dupleix is shocked. So he is leaving Tiruchirappalli and is rushing towards Arcad. So that means he is losing the battle of Tiruchirappalli as well. He could not reach Arcad. Before that, the battle is over. Chanda Sahib is killed. Arcad is lost. Trichy is lost. So both sides, the French have suffered loss, except Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, their supporter has come to power, but when it comes to Arcad, they were defeated. Okay, so Dupleix failed to capture Tiruchirappalli because he's hearing the news of attack of Arcad and he's trying to go to help Arcad, but that did not happen and the French were defeated in Arcad. Please understand, Dupleix' strategy was very successful so far. In the first Carnatic War, he captured Madras. In the second Carnatic War, his men did not suffer much defeat at all. They were successful in Arcad region. They made Chanda Sahib as the Nawab of Arcad. Then they went to Hyderabad. They were successful in Hyderabad as well. So the first defeat Dupleix is facing is only now. What is the defeat? He lost Arcad. But the French government, without thinking deeply, what do they think? Dupleix should be blamed for this defeat, and they recall Dupleix. They are telling, you don't have to be in India at all. We will send another fit man to go to India and take over this problem. Okay, so Dupleix was recalled to France in 1754. This is the biggest mistake the French government has done, and that will be responsible for the defeat of the French against the British in the Anglo-Carnatic Wars. Okay, right? So 1754, the British had recalled our Dupleix, the most successful French governor in India so far. So the capture of Arcad was a remarkable incident for the English. So that is why Robert Clive is called as hero of Arcad. So you need not be in the top leadership position to change the result. Even if you are a mid-level leader, if you have a good suggestion and you are proposing the suggestion with courage and your leadership accepts it, and if you are the reason for success, then you would be definitely awarded for that, right? That is the example of Clive's story. So there are a lot of books that are written for children about Robert Clive. So they tell exaggerated story, but still they talk about how Robert Clive is known for his self-initiative and perseverance. So he would become one of the successful generals in India. Okay, why? He gave a small idea without any hesitation that let us go and attack Arcad. So that is why he is hailed as hero of Arcad. After this, he will be sent to Bengal also to tackle the problems of Bengal. There also he will become successful. He becomes governor of Bengal in future. Okay, so that way Robert Clive is an inspiration for many warmongers. No? So the people who read about wars and battlefields. So Robert Clive is much read about as well. The Third Carnatic War, you find the French lost control of Hyderabad because of their strategic mistake of recalling General Bussy. So when Bussy is engaging in battle in Madras, silently the British engage Hyderabad ruler, convince Salabat Jung to change his loyalty to British side. For Indians, it didn't matter whether it was British or the French. Whoever promises support, they were willing to get anything from them. So that way, Salabat Jung goes to the side of the British and the French lost Hyderabad. Then, in the Battle of Madras as well, Lally and Bussy were defeated. They even surrendered Pondicherry in 1761. So that way, a treaty was signed called the Treaty of Paris in 1763. According to this treaty, the Britishers are making the condition and the French have to follow the condition, right? Only Pondicherry and Karaikal was returned back to French. Pondicherry and Karaikal, small territories, no? Pondicherry, Karaikal, Mahe. These temple areas. Mahe was not captured at all. So it was already with the French only. So Pondicherry, Karaikal was given back to the French, and Third Carnatic War was put to an end in 1763. Lot of exchange will happen between the British and the French in American colony also, here in European territories as well as in India. So finally, the French were allowed to retain only Pondicherry and Karaikal in India. Pondicherry, Karaikal and Mahe in India. They gave back all other possessions to the British. Therefore, it is the Third Carnatic War that put an end to the ambition of the French in India. So what are the causes of the success of English? So all these English followers, all the loyal patrons of English East India Company, I am sure you all know this answer. They had better financial position, they had better leadership, they had good naval power, they had better trading facilities, and they had good leadership and communication skills between their generals, and constant support and encouragement and trust was given by the British government, whereas the French did not do so. With a single defeat, they recalled Dupleix. Dupleix was the only person who understood how Indian polity worked. So he could have been more successful. Instead, they recalled him. So because of all these reasons, the French have lost and the English have won. So what is the top reason? Naval superiority. Why we are saying this again and again, even though the battle took place in land, from Europe to, can somebody give me answer? Why we are talking about naval superiority? Bombay or Bengal or Madras, you find in all the coastal areas of India, the Britishers were able to establish their supremacy. So that way their trading supremacy also helped in their success in India. Then Dupleix and other French government did not have friendship or coordination like that of the British. So recall of Dupleix was reason for the failure, and calling of Bussy from Hyderabad, thinking that Hyderabad is theirs forever and ever. So they overestimated their friendship with Hyderabad in Nizam also. So that way, there are a lot of strategic failures from the French side. So that was responsible for their defeat and success of the British. So Anglo-Carnatic Wars. This chapter is called, otherwise called as Anglo-Carnatic Wars. Any question?